Whenever you hear that music, you see the artwork, you know it's time for MX Live here on MX24 TV. Very happy you're joining us today. I'm saying us because I'm not the only one who's here. I have a couple of gentlemen in the studio. I'm going to be introducing them in a bit, but once again, thank you so much for tuning in because you could be doing anything else in the world. Now, pertaining to the conversations we're going to be having today, if you want to be a part of it, very simple. MX24 TV, hashtags MX Live. It makes it easier to find us and stay interactive. Now, the cool thing is today is MX Live Extended. And as the show goes on, you're going to find out why and exactly what I mean by that. But please send us messages. I always say questions, suggestions, ideas, anything informative, you want to add. We're absolutely open through our DMs, through our social media, every single platform. So today, like I said, I'm going to be introducing my guests in a bit, but today's topic is very interesting for me because, you look at artists and you look at the media and we're looking at the relationship dynamic between the press, and the creatives. And is it cohesive? Is there good interaction between them? The thing is, we have a video we want you to watch. Check this out. When we get back, we're truly going to extend the conversation. I'll be right back.
That. Sometimes, depending what it is, like if it's something like really personal, really serious, something I know is traumatizing, I'll be like, sure, I'll oblige. For this one, I said no. Yeah. And the reason I said no, they had 6 things they didn't want us to ask. You want to know what those 6 things were? Yeah. They didn't want us to ask about Kai Cenat. The whole "we friends though" thing. Yeah. Like, huh? Okay. They didn't want us to ask about her not being on tour with Chris Brown anymore. They didn't want us to ask about the color thing. Injury. They didn't want us to ask about her injury that she sustained. What else was it? They didn't want to ask us about who she was dating, which I wouldn't do anyway. And what was the other one? It was one it was just all frivolous stuff. And why? What are they trying to do? They're trying to protect an image that they're curating for her? I have no idea. And that's why I said... Oh, but the Rihanna thing, comparing. Oh, yeah, and comparison. And it wasn't even Rihanna. It just said comparisons to other pop artists. Huh? Oh, so they're trying to separate her from Kai Cenat. She's her own individual. Don't tie her to him. And you want me to not ask her about Kai Cenat the day after Kevin Hart just was on Kai Cenat's show again with a big-ass sign that said, "We friends, though"? Yeah. Like, come on, yo. So I said to them, no. Oh. Now, when I say no, I'm not going to oblige any of this. It is your job then, label, management, whoever, to either prepare the artist for the questions or pull the interview. Exactly, yeah. I'm fine with either or. Yeah. I've already told you I'm not going to follow any of this. Yes. So when you see out there saying things like, he asked every question they asked him not to ask because I'm not right? And being that I'm not for record labels. Yeah. I have a job to do, and my job is for the people. So imagine, right, if I'm sitting around and I'm having a conversation, if we have these conversations, and then all in the comments, it's like, why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that? Why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that? Yeah. I got a job to do to the people. Yeah. My job, my integrity with the people will always matter more than my integrity with a goddamn record label. Yeah. And also the label is using you. 100%. But you have a lot of people that don't do that. You have a lot of radio personalities, a lot of journalists, a lot of people who care more about those relationships with the labels than they do relationships with the actual audience. And it shows. And it shows. Yeah. And not only does it show, you show your card. Yeah. When you say that, when you say the label asked him not to do it and he did it anyway. So the fuck what? Yeah. After I told the label I ain't following that shit. So they knew. They so knew. Why are they complaining? Their job was to prepare their client or pull the interview. Yeah.
Charlemagne, man, one of my favorite guys to watch, somebody I really learn a lot from when it comes to how direct he is, his interview structure, the humor he adds to what he does, and his growth in the space, because he's dealt with a lot of hate. Personally, I've seen his growth. It's been really exponential. But from what he's saying, and I can back up the fact that he's someone who's truly stayed to what he does and what he believes in. So today, generally, the reason why we play that video is to give an example, right, of the relationship dynamics when it comes to freedom of press and artist control. When it comes to interviewers and interviewees. Case in point, the media and the artists, the creatives, the entrepreneurs, just that conversation. And one thing he said there that I want to highlight is he said, his integrity to the people, that's you, the audience, which I feel someone in my position always has a duty to, and or his integrity or duty to a record label, you know, to appease the people he's going to be asking the question. So there's a lot to unload, a lot to unpack, but I'm not doing this by myself. I have three fly gentlemen in the studio. I'm going to introduce them one after the other. First off, Quabbles, talent manager extraordinaire. How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. How
You're looking fly, bro. You were in UK like 2 days ago. you're just out of the country. How have you been, man? What have you been up to?
Everything has been fine. I was on tour with the dancers, so we just came back from the UK. We're going to go back to Europe probably next month.
Wow.
Yeah, so
you guys are traveling. Bro, I dance too, man. How do I audition? Because the thing is, I'm not the only one who's good at the moves. The gentleman to your left has also got some moves, man.
Legendary.
JK, the legendary, our very own. TV host, been up to this for years. Ask a billion questions, so it's very, very right and fair. We have him on to you. How you doing, man?
I'm good, my brother.
I've been enjoying your morning show, man.
But you sat in?
Yeah, I did.
You sat in for the topsy
I
turvy.
did.
So.
I was trying to like, don't do everything like you. Bro, how have you been this year when it comes to work and what you do, bro?
Well, I must be honest, it's been stressful a bit because, I mean, I'm
have you found a way to handle the stress, you know, doing this for years?
Yes. Of course, I mean, the work comes with it.
Yeah.
You cannot take it away from it. But it's been good. I've not been a morning person that you know.
Yeah, true.
So, you know, adapting to it has been quite tough. But I'm in for the challenge, and here we are.
Nice. That's what it's all about. To his left, also to my right, Mr. Adam. I haven't seen you this year, have I?
Yeah.
Entertainment journalist, supernatural. I see you on multiple platforms, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. Do you have time for yourself? Because you're everywhere.
I do. I mean, stress management. So, I mean, there's some days that we try to take it off so that we can have enough sleep. I mean, that's why we keep going. Else would have been broken down. So.
Yeah, but it gets busier this time of the year through to December, right?
Yeah. Especially, I mean, where there are a lot of activities.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's for the culture, I say.
Yeah.
So we must be there to let people see what's happening.
Yeah.
So that that's like our role in the ecosystem. So we just have to play that.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for making time today. And I think it's a very interesting dynamic we have here, you know, from a talent manager to a TV host and entertainment journalist. And the thing, what I think is cool is you guys do a little bit
and PR.
And PR. That's what I was about to say. You guys do a little bit of each other's work because you also work with artists. So you manage talent. So very, very interesting. And I think we should just dive into the conversation. What do you feel about the video we just played? You know, Charlamagne talking about Tyler was going for an interview and her team were trying to, you know, control, which I think it's normal for any team to want to like do this or don't do that. What do you think about that?
As you said, rightly so. I mean, when an artist is going for an interview, definitely the team management or record label or whoever is behind will definitely come together and have a structure. You know, some might say that, okay, let's go in for the buzz, okay?
Where everything goes.
Where everything
Ask
goes.
me anything.
Ask me anything, you get it. Some would also say, you know what, we've gotten to a point where we need to stay back and then reflect before we actually push, you get it. So it depends at what stage you are, because it will definitely be an amateur stage, there'll be the in-betweens and then the professional, where we do know that, Charlie, you've conquered everywhere. So you're ready for it, you get it. And that's the dicey point, because when you get to the professional level, that's where every shot could be thrown at you. You get it, because you are there. And it's not about you being private anymore. People will start digging into your past.
Because the bigger you are, the more questions will be asked.
Exactly. So I don't really blame the team that much, because that's what you're supposed to do, is your work. But then you cannot take it away from the journalist as to how he or she is going to post your questions. And we all differ. All right. What I might ask someone would be different from what you might be asking somebody. You get
interview
it.
structure, you know,
everything. And mind you, I don't know about the Western culture, but then when it comes to our indigenous media outlets, every media outlet and what you're seeking for to put out there. Okay? So we MX24, we stand for the facts, we stand for the fun, we stand for the fearless, we're bold, and we stand for the youth too as well. All right. What another station would be looking out for is different from what MX24 is looking out for.
Okay.
So then the line of questions or the way we're going to, conduct the interview might be different from what another station would be doing.
Yeah.
And it also varies from persona. Because someone would be there and be like, oh, well, if I go to Jason's show, he might ask some questions where I'll be comfortable with. And it's happened to me when I was in a different space. Because I was in a different space and I had senior colleagues. And there was an artist who decided to come on my show because the artist felt like I'm more calm. So if the artist felt like, yo, no, this guy is calm. So let's go on his show. He might not bite. Little did he know that when he came to the show, I had a different way of getting the answers that I was looking for. But it's the approach, the way I went about it. It wasn't like the same way the senior colleague would go about it. Because the senior colleague is quite blunt. He will just go in straight and just ask. Whether you like it or not, you can leave his show. He doesn't care. But I will really care a bit. Just a bit of the way I'll go about it, okay?
With that, are you thinking about your relationship with the artist, or are you thinking more about the platform, or are you thinking about the audience? With how careful you're being?
All through.
Okay.
Because at that moment, probably I might get carried away.
Okay.
You get it. And it might come back to backlash myself and the company I am representing at the end of the day. You get it. We've seen series of that happening, and I mean, the media outlets had to even move the presenter or whoever, the host, behind scenes. Sometimes they make it look like, oh, the person has gone for some suspension here and there. But
so these things happen.
These things happen.
Okay. Now, Adam, what he said, right? Do you think, even first of all, artists have the right to demand what type of questions they're going to be asked? Because he clearly stated, this media house, this interviewer, you know what you're doing at that moment, what's likely to be asked. Do artists have the right?
Before I come to that part of the question, let me put the other one in context. Then I base on that as a platform to come to that side. There is interesting bits when it comes to journalism. In journalism, we have principles of journalism. And if you check the principles of journalism, it talks about truth, it talks about accuracy, it talks about fairness. And there is one part which creates it leaves a discretion for you. That's humanity. That humanity says that whatever we say, whatever we are reporting about, whatever we are doing may hurt people. And for that reason, we need to consider the feelings of those people when doing that. So it leaves a kind of discretion. That's why maybe someone will say, okay, this question may be some way, it may affect, it may hurt you. I will not have to. So it is, people believe that it's not professionally right for a newscaster or a journalist to be on air talking about a rape case, and they go like, of a pen drive, and of fire, and of bemu, and of download. The family could be listening.
Because it's a very serious topic, right?
That's a hard news.
So to make humor of it.
That's a hard news.
The
family could be listening. The victim, herself, could be listening.
So that's where the humanity comes
So
in.
you need to apply some humanity. So, like, the humanity leaves some discretion to the journalist to look at certain situations, to feel like, nah, I need not to ask this. But this, the other bit, which makes it so interesting, that is when you look at elements of journalism. Now, the element of journalism says that, one of the elements of journalism says that the first responsibility or loyalty is to the citizens. And that is saying that we need to ask questions on the minds of the people, that questions people would want to listen to, certain answers that people are demanding. So this also puts the journalist in a certain responsibility role that I need to ask what the public wants to hear. And at times, it is not all the public wants to hear is what the celebrity wants to give us.
Yeah.
And that is where at times we have that tussle, that the person will say, that's my business.
Yeah.
But the public wants to know.
Wants to know.
I mean, back in the day, journalism used to be, believe me, but it is, yes, this is it. But people won't prove. You understand? So that puts, I mean, the media in an interesting corner. Then the bit of whether the celebrity has a certain right or not, that comes to PR. Because in PR, there's what
From
we call...
the artists or the creatives?
Yeah.
Okay.
In PR, there's what we call narrative control. You know, in PR is essentially about two things. That is buffering and bridging. And when we say buffering and bridging is like you are protecting the reputation of the brand.
Okay.
But in the same way you are buffering, you need to bridge. You need to reach out.
Oh.
So you don't just buffer without bridging. If you buffer without bridging, there will be a problem with stakeholder relations. So you need to buffer, protect the brand, but at the same time reach out.
JKD, this job is not easy.
So as
You know, you just come and ask questions and go.
so as the PR is buffering and bridging, he keeps in mind control the narrative. That is the reason some will ask for certain questions or interview guide before, or tell you not to ask this. Because if you have, the person who controls the narrative has the power. Now, when the personality or the brand allows the journalist to control the narrative, what happens is that controlling of the narrative has a way of shaping public opinion. Because the public will react in a certain way to the answer and even the question. Now, this is where the danger lies. Now, because they are brands thrive on what we call, when you're talking about brands, one thing which is very key is equity. Now, the equity is what attracts people, likability, and that equity can be commercialized. And because that equity can be commercialized, and there is an important way people see equity, that's perceived value of a brand. Now, that perceived value is maybe quabbles. People have heard about quabbles. Oh, he does this, he does that. They have not seen, they have not experienced him. But because of perceived value, they think that, oh, okay, they say he does this, so this is how he is. That perceived value can bring you a lot of businesses. It's what is commercialized for you. Brand endorsements, this. Now, when the journalist controls the narrative, and that narrative can shape the public perception, it can affect the brand equity of the artist and goes into the perceived value. And if the narrative is negative, it can affect.
Do you know what I'm thinking about?
So at times people want to protect that.
What I'm thinking about is Quabble's managers. Like, how many people are you managing at the moment?
A lot.
Bro,
a lot of people.
That must be a lot of work because you know what he's saying. He's taking it from different perspectives. You know, from the journalist, from the management, from the creative. Now you're a manager, and you manage these artists. So perceived value, how they're seen. Have you ever, in your position, tried to control the narrative when it comes to, I want to find out what questions they're going to be asked, how they're going to be asked, what platform they're going to be on. Have you even denied certain platform access to your artists?
Okay, for a second I felt like he was talking to me because, you know, I literally found myself in a situation like that where...
Recently?
Where there was like a public opinion, you know, like the public thoughts. You know,
about you?
Yeah, you know, this or that. So I had to do that interview, you know, to let people know this is the narrative, and you know what everybody's thinking out there, that's not the truth, you know. And I was surprised by the response, you know. So
was it what you like?
I wasn't expecting that kind of response. I was just, you know, I had to let people know the truth, you know. But and from the response, I was like, whoa, is this what everybody thought, you know? So if you're denying, you know, certain questions, then the narrative that's out there is what's going to continue, or you know, nobody's ever going to hear
your end of the story,
end of the story, or what you want them to know.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I do sometimes, you know, find out what questions, especially because most of the talents I manage, I start managing them from a very young age, you know, and they're not very good with, you know, interviews and all that. So yes, we need to, you know, we need to do some form of rehearsals, plan, you know, how you're going to answer the questions. With time, the talent grows, you know, where, you know, I don't even have to ask for questions anymore, or I don't even have to know what the interviewer is going to ask. I think that a lot of talents forget that people don't just love them for their talent. They also love them for their personality.
Okay.
You understand?
And these come through the interviews, how you answer the questions.
You can love somebody because of how they even talk, or how they even answer the particular question. You know, sometimes they think it's just because I can sing, so it's just about my music. But no, how you deal with, you know, life, or you even express yourself can make somebody love you, and then it transcends to, you know, even how much you love your music. So protecting the talent too much, I believe it's good to.
Have you tried to do that before in your position, where it's like, no, don't ask this question. This is a bit too deep. You know, thinking about the equity and the brand you're working with.
Yes, I have.
Because your loyalty is to them first.
Of course. I have tried, you know, protecting my talent sometimes, but at the same time, I've come to learn, because I'm learning on the job. It's not like I know it all, but I'm learning that, like, you know, when you don't, you know, address certain things, that's whatever is out there is going to be there forever. You know, so yes, there should be, you know, some level of freedom given to the interviewer as well, so that, you know.
Per what you've seen, would you say there is not a good relationship generally, right? Even not just your artists, between the media and the creatives? Let's come straight to Ghana, because I've seen multiple times, you know, artists after the interview, they get annoyed at the questions they were asked. We've seen artists say, I'm promoting my music. Why are you asking me this? Why are you talking about my personal life? Let's talk about the album. Let's focus on this, this, and that, and that. What do you think about that? Is there too much of an imbalance when it comes to the relationship between the media and the artists at this point in time?
I don't know why. It's entertainment. Like, we cannot come here and just talk about your music the whole time. You know, we can't talk about. It's like, imagine you're going to 5 different media outlets, or you are doing like 10 different interviews, and everybody's asking you just about your song. The question should vary. You know, everybody and what, you know, they are looking out for. So, I think we should be much more open to, you know, how do I even put it?
You should be more open.
Diverse, you know.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, so I get what you're saying, but JKD, being in the media, do you think sometimes too we take it a bit too far? I mean, like he said, right? There has to be humanity. You have to be a bit humane. At the same time, our loyalty first is to the audience. So, being to the audience, being humane, trying to find the balance. Does the media take it a bit too far? In as much as, yes, you have to coach your talents, you know, the audience wants to know the truth. Sometimes, bro, it might...
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And I will still base my fact on the driving purpose of both the personality and the station as well. You get it? Because sometimes you are actually put in a box. And excuse me to say, but I'll be blunt about it. You're sometimes pushed to do what you don't want to do. That's at the end of the day.
That's you, basically. You interview.
You know, I mean, the journalist,
producer,
you get it. It's there.
Do this, don't do that.
Don't do that, do this. And sometimes it creates that confusion. And then when you're done, then there is heat behind there. Like, but I would tell you, say, ask this thing. Where you know, ask, you know.
Yeah.
But you're also trying to be very, very careful about it. And that's what Adam spoke about, the humanity part of it.
But if an artist
I'll give you an example.
Okay, please do.
Pretty simple. Now, here I am, and
Personal.
my co-host would be a big witness to this, because she was the one bringing the artist, and I was in a different station by then. All right. So she hits me up, bro. I have the artist. He's going on a tour. Let's come with the artist. Let's be on your show and everything. You get it. But this is what she said. But no Yvonne Nelson question. So you should know who I'm talking about now.
Niger.
No Yvonne Nelson question. I was like, okay, that's cool. Then when they came for the interview, we were already hyper and everything. So he just entered into the interview just like that, and then we were just, having our thing. But then when we went for a break, I asked her, why no Yvonne Nelson question? Then she was like, Charlie, yes, we go some other station. Charlie, they won't hold the boy in neck, make it talk. And he was fed up with it. It's not like he doesn't want to talk about it, but the way they are going about it won't allow him to talk. I was like, you know what? No problem.
Yeah.
Guess what? We had the whole vibe. I put him in the mood and everything. At the end, I was like, Chairman, Shami, shake me. Then he shook my hand. I was like, oh, you did well with this whole Yvonne Nelson story. It was like, oh my God, my God. But he laughed, and later on, when I was asking him about the Yvonne Nelson, he came out and spoke about it. So it's about the approach.
Because the thing is, if you have a 30-minute interview, right, you release new music, and 20 minutes, 25 minutes is about your personal life, I mean, that's where there's no
it gets boring. It gets boring at some time, yeah.
Okay. And is that a problem? Adam, from what you've seen behind the scenes, you work with multiple media houses, you've been on multiple platforms. Are we, the media, is it being overdone when it comes to, focusing too much on the personal, looking over the fact that, they've released new content?
I don't think the media is overdoing it.
Okay.
I mostly say that when it comes to the entertainment space, we play with PR. We don't want to invest in PR because that's what holds the brand. We want to leave the PR to the journalists. I think even in the entertainment space, journalists are more charitable to the brands because they think that when you go hard, they will say you're a hater. But if you go to other aspects of the profession, people are doing exposés, taking politicians, taking football, question and people are taking, So I say at times we are even charitable because all of us, all of us in the media, that behind the scenes we see about brands we don't want to talk about. You understand? I was talking about something which happened, but I didn't talk about it on air. We try to protect the brand, but I think that is more charitable to them. They also need to find a way to counter us by investing in PR so that if you are coming, even if certain questions are asked, your PR understands that, okay, if you are asked a certain question and you think you can't answer, you can use the bridging approach to run away from the question or answer it in a certain way. So if you invest in communication, some of these things will not become a problem because even in the court, you are not obliged to answer any question.
Plead the fifth, right?
Yeah, so you are not obliged to answer any question. So how much more
I like
on TV or radio, which is not a courtroom.
But the thing is is for people, it's even worse because you're instantly judged by public opinion, right? Like a larger court. And that's what I want to come to. Now, okay, we're saying that, okay, the media has to do this. Now, the artists and how they answer the questions. Again,
let me end with it.
Please do.
Look at the presidency. How the presidency, they have director of communication. The other side, Eugene Ahin, there is somebody who is also working in the media team for the presidency. Then he used to be a former sports journalist with a multimedia. Now he's vying for an MP Ablekuma, one of the Ablekuma seats. I've forgotten his name. He also plays a role in the communication of the presidency. Then he has a minister of information. And that doesn't end it, that party communicators. So if the presidency, aside that, there are presidential press corps who are responsible or dedicated to the presidency. I'm telling you how important communication and PR is to even the first gentleman of the land. Thinking that he has a power of, some fear, he can put fear in people. He still feels that, no, we need to have a certain gate to ensure that we control the narratives to a certain point. So when it comes to ordinary brands who are not as powerful as the president, I mean, you need to ensure that you protect yourself. In terms of communication, invest. I mean, that's one gap I see in our space, that we play too much with communication.
Okay.
That we think that, oh, somebody is your friend, or somebody, I mean, is in the space, he can do it for me.
Okay.
We try to, and communication is very key.
Yeah.
It's purely strategy.
Okay.
You understand? Recently, there's something happened with a company. They do beverages, where their factory is close to somebody's house. They wanted to buy the house or something. Where at the end of the day, they realized that they couldn't reach an agreement to buy it. Now the guy said they had redirected their roof, and anytime it rains, the water comes into his house and it's destroying his wall. The guy came to rant on social media, and it was like it caught fire.
Okay.
Now the company issued the first statement, and the backlash of the first statement, it was crazy. But communication is purely strategy, because whatever happened, the strategy they needed to use in image restoration is a corrective measure. So in the second statement, they corrected themselves by going by corrective measure. And it's one of the pillars in image restoration. In corrective measure, you say that, oh, this is a mistake. We've corrected it. And we ensure it won't happen. So they went for a carpenter. They ensured that they rectify that roofing issue and say, this is it. We've shown commitment. We've rectified. And so communication is purely strategy. It's not about just friends and other things. Else, one day, when the crisis comes, that's one thing people don't think about, crisis communication. Very crucial.
Okay, so
one day the crisis comes.
Talking about strategy, right? How do you think, or what do you feel about how artists show discomfort during and after interviews? Example, walking off, being direct, telling the interviewer, don't ask me this, why are you asking me this, why are you using my time for this? After the interview, going on social media, posting videos directed at the interviewer and the platform. What do you think about that, and how artists have been handling it of late?
I think, if you're there on the spot, right, however you deal with it shows who you are.
Oh.
Yeah, you're literally giving out yourself, So, like he's saying, like you need to plan before you go for that interview, or your team needs to train you.
So is it more up to the artist or the media house? Like we're trying to find a balance in this conversation, right? But now you're going to a very prestigious
maybe
media house.
Maybe the media house doesn't know that is probably going to, hit the talent or the.
Do talent and do you managers care about the platforms a bit more so, in terms of the fact that I don't care the questions they're going to ask me? This is a huge platform. They have the numbers. Do you guys look at it from that perspective?
Well, I'm a little weird. Like, for me, right, when I know this is a topic that's going to sell, I'll draw the narrative. I would like it for you
no matter the platform.
If it's a very big platform, I'll still allow you to ask the question, and the talent has to answer in this way. Because then I see a lot of interviews where people are not watching. There are a lot of interviews out there. People are not watching. Like they start watching the interview, and in 10 minutes they skip. Because it's boring. But when there's juice in that interview, so yes, let him ask, and then you.
So you have to know how to answer the questions.
Yeah, you have
the questions
to know
are going to be thrown.
Yes.
So there's like a striker and a goalkeeper. I mean, the striker is looking for a space to kick the ball. The goalkeeper is also looking to catch the ball from that direction.
JKD, what's the...
So the media is striking, and you, the brand, you need to find a way. Because the way you react can also create an impression about you on the show.
JKD, what's the weirdest way an artist has shown disrespect or discomfort towards you? And has that ever happened? Like I'm saying, maybe on set, asking you why you're asking this question, maybe going off social media after the interview, maybe interactions even years later saying, I didn't like the way you asked that question.
Well, it's been two ways. The very first one was more of, okay, the questions keep coming, you're answering it right, however you want to answer it. And then one question drops and a little bit of fumbling here and there, and then the next one drops, and you ask me the question. You just ask me the question. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Ask me. Ask me. I'm going to give you a vivid reaction.
How are you doing, man? How was your day? Is everything okay with you? I like what you're wearing, man. And that's how it was going on.
Yeah, like now he vexed, mute.
Oh man!
And it's just on the phone, and then you ask.
So how'd you do that?
No, it's making you, the journalist, look like you are. Excuse me to say, dumb. You get it. So it's like you're talking, and then it's just on the phone, just watching you, just on the phone, just watching you, and the funny thing is, this was on radio.
Oh, so people can't see.
People can see.
There's silence.
Yes, there's silence. This on radio, and then next thing is like, are you done?
Oh no.
That's it.
Now this is wrong. Like, I know we're trying to
get it.
We're trying to be fair to both the media houses
I'll never defend my talent
and the creators.
So you see, then
when
when this happens, you the artist, definitely, I mean, you would come back looking for another interview.
Yeah.
So then this interview that you're coming this time around, you are calling the shots. You're like, you know what, I have an album, I want to put it out there and all that and all that. Okay, fine, fair enough. So now how do you want me to ask about these questions? Now, how do you want me to even go about the interview in the first place? That's not going to work. You see, as Adam said, I mean, as journalists, this is our job.
Yeah.
Our job is to ask you questions. Our job is to get the information so the public can feed on the information and make it look. Not make it look. It has to be facts.
Yeah.
You get it? Because if somebody comes out there and says that, hey, we heard Jason went to do this and this and that, I should be able to come and ask you.
Yeah.
That
So
you've
have
come
the
for the
space to
interview.
deny?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you. This is what I heard. Is that true? Clarify it.
What do you think
That's
about
it.
now artists picking and choosing a bit too much? Oh, this platform, who's interviewing? Which panels are going to be on this platform? Nah, I don't like the way he asked me this question 2 years ago. What do you think about that? Do artists get to the point where, Charlie, now I just go pick and choose where I decide to go?
Yeah. I think that is they are right in terms of protection of their brand. I mean, they are trying to deceive the kind of platforms they go to amplify their brand, knowing maybe how the backlash could be. So that is good for them because they think that, okay, they do not have that strength to be able to go the length to aftermath deal with the bashing or the consequences. So in order not to get into that situation, preventive measure is one of the good measures. However, it's up to you to also analyze to see that are these platforms I'm missing going to help me achieve my brand goals or affect my brand goals?
So you just...
Because you need to vary, the options.
Yeah.
Because now if you are skipping these platforms, what become hold of the brand, which is the product you are selling?
Yeah.
Do you think that you can still reach out to your audience? So if you think that this skipping certain platforms will not help you reach your brand goals, then why don't you find a strategy of going and owning the narrative?
So let me ask you this.
Respectfully.
Do you think, with everything that you've enlightened us on today, artists would be fair to say, I'm going to choose this platform because it has the numbers, even though they're going to ask me the same question as this platform that doesn't have the numbers? Is that fair for the artist to say, based on this?
On the side of the artist, it's fair.
It's up to them.
It's up to them.
Wow.
But I'm coming.
Wow.
Now it will create a stakeholder relation problem.
Yeah.
Should you go somewhere or go and tell somebody in an offensive manner and it gets out that the platform gets to know? Because what I've learned in this media space is that I've always told artists that do not, you need to respect artists and their presenters and their platform, because in this media space, at times, artists, presenters move. So maybe you think he's on a certain platform, you disrespect him today.
It's funny. It's
Tomorrow, he's on that hottest platform and you want to get there.
Yeah.
And it becomes a problem. So I tell them that this media job is like football. It's not about Chelsea, it's not about Man City.
JD, what do you think about this?
So be very, very circumspect when it comes to that.
Because what he's saying is actually true, right? Now, you're a talent manager, he's heavily in the media. It's like, okay, they're going to ask me the same questions, or these interviewers are quite similar, but this one has numbers. Shall I go this one? Because I know how, or I'm going to decide to answer these questions again solely based on the numbers. What do you think when you hear this, or when you see artists? What advice would you give to artists who decide that?
And a quick one, a critical example. At times, it happens to me that some people, they are calling you, and you think that this platform may not help you reach your brand goals. But these same people will see you on another platform and say, so you didn't come to us.
Yeah.
So now you have to give them some excuse and make sure it's very tangible so that they will not feel offended.
But Adam, I don't think anybody's going to be like, shh, this is tangible now. They're going to know, like, you just didn't want to come.
At times. I mean, and there are some techniques I use. I can't put them up because if I put them, they'll see it. So, like, I mean, you need to find a way you will not be offensive. So that one day you want to go back, you can go back in peace. Yeah. Because stakeholder relation is very important. Because if you look at the stakeholder models, there are stakeholders with interest and power. Yeah. So if you are dealing with a stakeholder who has interest, if you are dealing with a stakeholder who has interest and power, all of them, you need to deal with them differently.
But the thing is, what you're saying, JKD is a stakeholder with his media house. He doesn't necessarily care too much about the next stakeholder. He cares about what he's involved in. I mean, obviously there's competition, there's brand awareness and all these things. So if you deny JKD an interview simply because of his platform, for whatever reason, isn't he fair to take it a bit personal? Even though we're trying not to be emotional in this
It depends on how it comes out to him.
JKD, what do you think?
Because if JKD feel is someone
JKD is a human being at the end of the day.
No. I'll be honest.
JKD I didn't come to JKD just because.
No, I'll be honest. Bro, what Adam said is vividly true in terms of today you are here, tomorrow you are there.
Right?
You get it?
Yeah.
And it's a clear example. My ex-station, I mean, everyone would say, okay, we clearly can see you a whole lot more than where you are now. Okay. That's what they'll naturally say. You get it?
Okay.
So, I mean, but for the fact that JKD is now here, I mean, it also pushes in the weight. So people now want to now come here just because JKD is here. Okay. You get it? That's another angle on the side.
Okay.
But I will definitely feel hurt. There's so many times where, and it's simple. I mean, where an artist, a big artist for that matter, I even knew that, oh yes, he was going to come for the interview, didn't show up, went for another interview, and then later on, I took a snapshot of that interview, sent it to the artist, and I was like, "You made us do a flyer for you.
Yeah,
we knew you were.
Now that's disrespectful.
People knew you were coming. You get it?
Wait, how many years ago was this?
Oh, just about 2 years ago.
Does it? Do you still feel some type of way about it?
No, it's in fact not towards the person, but in general.
Okay.
So it took a toll on me to the extent that these days, even if an artist calls me that, hey, I want to come on your show, I do the flyer, I give it to you. Me personally, I don't post it.
So this is one example JKD is given of his experience.
Yeah, I won't post it.
Now imagine the countless other presenters, journalists who have issues, so to speak, with artists and creators and their managers for whatever reason. Now this could be a silent problem, don't you think?
It is. I've had like so many experiences when it comes to that. Yeah. So there was one time when we did Beyonce, right? A lot of people wanted to interview us because they wanted to know how it happened and everything. And there were 2 stations that wanted us to come, and the show was literally around the same time. So we had to choose.
No. That I don't want to be in your shoes.
It was literally, around the same time. And, the 2 stations are big, but we had to choose one. And then we went to the other. I didn't know it was going to be taken personal. Now, I'm somewhere one day, somebody's about to do some business for us, calls this person and says, oh, I'm here with these people. The person didn't know we were there, and he's like, don't help those people.
Okay.
They don't respect.
That's crazy.
And this is after a year, and only to find out that this is why the person is saying we don't respect because we didn't come.
Some people
Okay,
but I feel like that's not fair because
since we're being fair, like you just said, what if JKD, you have an interview with, random example, a Shatawale, and he doesn't like a certain question, so you retract that statement or that question on air. I think it was on Twitter, on X, a while ago, and he was having a conversation with Sewa. I'm never going to and these things happen. So Sewa, I think, handled it perfectly. The interview went on. Shatawale is a huge artist. Let's not deny these things. He has the numbers. Him on any platform is very important to the media house, the interviewer, and the audience. Now, if another artist comes to you and does this same thing Shatawale did, not on that platform, not as big, doesn't have the numbers, doesn't have the reach, would you respond the same way? Or do you sometimes, in your shoes, consider who you're interviewing, the size of the artist, again, when it comes to their numbers and their capacity?
You cannot leave that one out. You cannot leave it out. And sometimes it's just about even the personal. You see, sometimes we forget about the personal relationship that the journalist
so we can't take this away
has with the artist. Okay? Quabbles knows me way back from Campus Based TV. Okay? And there are things that we used to do. You get it. And now he knows that, oh no, this guy, where he's gotten to, it's on different platform, all right? So now he comes on the show and we're talking. There are certain things probably, because of the relationship that I have with him, we will be cool to do so. And I'll give you a clear example. Someone like Caleb Neodoy. Caleb, way back, and how he used to conduct his interviews is different. And this time around, he meets the likes of Richie, and you listen to Caleb's interviews and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, the growth is there, right?
Do you get it?
Yeah.
But this is it. I've been in a situation where Caleb has been undermined by certain artists before.
Wow.
And he still does those interviews with these artists.
Yeah.
So
that's a man who's really been able to separate the emotions from the
now
business.
I've gotten to this place. You guys want to come to me?
Yeah.
No. Do you get me? So then again, we still have that relationship.
So we can't deny the relationships we have with this.
No.
It plays a factor.
And you see, the numbers game too, at times, it's both ways. At times, brands, when coming up, find it difficult to get on some media platform because they think that they don't have the clout. You understand? So the media to at times pick and choose.
Oh, man.
Say, Charlie, it's all saying, or so Bekasa. Our brand with Charlie, the brand name cry, or so Bekasa, the Jason no go free host you. You see, so at times too, it happens the other side where we try and pick and choose, so.
Please, also Bekasa, I'll host you. Don't worry, bring your stuff. But I think, generally.
But Jason, one thing.
Okay, please.
I feel like history also plays a role.
Okay.
Imagine you've been somewhere before. And, the interviewer, treated you in a certain way.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. We can't deny these things.
And then you go back to that same person. He's somewhere else. And he tries to repeat that. Now you have grown. You have the numbers. You have become a bigger artist. So sometimes you cannot judge, people based on how they react and everything when there's been history. This time around, he's grown, he's bigger. He'll defend himself.
Okay.
Relation management plays a role. Just a week or two, my artist had a serious problem with a promoter outside. But I realized that now, there should be a point it ends. So I spoke to my artist, I spoke to the promoter separately. Then I brought both of them together on a call. And we scratched the bit. At a point, there was another challenge. I took a phone, the people were about 4, 3. I called them personally to speak to them to squash it because I know that they are very useful in the ecosystem. And they also need us. So, if this is solvable, let's solve it. It's very important how, relations are managed.
To get to our next
that's the role of
segment,
managers.
Putting you guys on the spot, have you blacklisted anybody in your little black book of interviews? You don't have to mention names, because I know you won't. Have you, are you hesitant about some interviews.
I have,
and some
but if I
platforms.
need you, I'll come back.
I like that. JKD, have you blacklisted in your little black?
Plenty.
Have you? Platforms, interviewers, interviewees, artists in your little black book?
I won't say blacklist.
Maybe like this person is a no.
I don't go that way, but my attention to you will diminish.
These are very
but if you come,
minded men.
If you come to me, I'll open the platform.
I like that.
But I will just not give you that energy.
You know, yes, exactly. I mean, it's either we're going high or we're going low.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like blacklist, for instance, but we need to be cautious.
But people do these things. People do black. We're all in somebody's little black book.
Oh, my first copy book,
Okay, so I'm not letting them leave just yet, but you know, in reference to what we spoke about, do you think there's too much of a disconnect? I don't think in any part of the world it's going to be super cohesive, right? Where artists and interviewers and platforms get along 100%. But the thing is, if it is constantly festering, right, where these relationships are severed over and over and over, it's definitely going to affect the industry. So please let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about how the artists respond, you know, to uncomfortable questions. You know, some artists even walk off, you know, because they're annoyed. You know, like, you don't know me, really? You're asking me that question. They walk off. Let us know about what you think about all these things. And these are conversations we're definitely going to extend. You know, this is MX Live, you know, extended. And we're going to have some artists on here to tell us, you know, why they really find some of these interviews uncomfortable. What we're going to do is we're going to go for a quick commercial break. We're going to go through a couple more stuff. We'll be right back.